Let's head to Tel Aviv, where the diplomatic correspondent for the Israeli national broadcaster, Amichai Stein, joins us now. Amichai, morning to you. What's the latest?
So the latest is we are expecting at some point, maybe even in the coming days, the ground offensive. Yesterday we heard the first time that IDF spokesperson told us that the ground offensive is being prepared and is being completed, the preparations. So we know in the coming days we will see probably some kind of ground offensive. And you need to understand that the big story right now, the diplomatic story, is what to do with the humanitarian issue in the south. U.S. officials told Israel that you cannot have the southern area of Gaza collapsing because, let me remind, that on Friday, Israel told all the citizens in northern Gaza to go down, and there is an attempt to find somehow to operate a humanitarian corridor. So the U.S. told the Israelis, you cannot cause a collapse in the humanitarian situation in southern Gaza due to the people from Gaza going down. So these are the main two stories right now. Other than that, unfortunately, the rockets are still flying from the terrorist organization. Israel is still striking massively targets inside Gaza, but these issues, the humanitarian issue and the ground offensive, this will be probably the main issues of this week.
Yeah, the humanitarian issue is something that I suppose everybody foresaw, because Israel was telling everybody to evacuate and go south. Hamas was telling people that they must not do that. And clearly, there's a changing invective you sense from world leaders actually saying that the humanitarian issue is paramount. But how can it be at the same time that Prime Minister Netanyahu is saying the offensive is going to start, it's going to be air, sea and land?
Listen, first of all, Israeli officials are telling all the people who live in northern Gaza, whoever stays, this is putting your life in danger. Now, we're seeing Hamas stopping these people from going down. They're putting roadblocks and things like that to stop people in the north going down because they're using them as human shields. Now, Israel can wait until a specific point. You can't drag it on forever. Now, when you're talking humanitarian issue, again, Israel is understanding that there will be probably some kind of humanitarian corridor to assist what's going on in the south. But at the end, Israel is saying, listen, we are on a fight for our lives after this massacre of this brutal murderous terrorist went in last week. So Israel is giving the time for the people in the north to go south, but at some point it will have to start also the ground operation, and that's Hamas is trying to prevent people from going down. Again, he's using them as human shield. We saw satellite images of roadblocks and things like that. So Israel is giving up to a specific point, and then things will change.
What is happening in terms of attacks on other fronts? Because we're getting reports that there has been a successful rocket attack on Tel Aviv, that there have been attacks coming in from Syria, that there have been more attacks from Hezbollah in Lebanon. What is happening there?
So we're seeing the northern front getting a bit of much more tenser than we saw next week. We saw Hezbollah, the terrorist organization, taking much more responsibility for attacks against Israel, even issuing films and videos of his attacks. But and there was something, the start of the real debate in Israel whether you should do a preemptive strike against Hezbollah. There's more and more calls, by the way, amongst Israelis, let's say, leading people or experts saying you need to do it right now, but at this point we're not seeing it happening. It's, let's say, Hezbollah is doing what you can call of annoyance when it comes to what's happening in northern Israel, meaning it's not doing a full-scale attack. It allows the Palestinians to do attacks against Israel and try to infiltrate. These things are happening, but it's not going all the way. Will it go all the way? We don't know yet, because at the end it's only their decision. That's why we see more and more calls in Israel. You need to do a preemptive strike against Hezbollah before it can unleash its force against Israel.
And what part do we know of Egypt? What part is Egypt playing now?
We are seeing all the countries, by the way, not just Egypt, as a part of mediating for some kind of, let's say, hostage release by the terrorist organizations in Gaza. We're seeing Egypt, we're seeing Qatar, we're seeing Turkey, we're seeing a lot of diplomatic frenzy around the world. We're seeing European leaders talking with Arab leaders about this issue. We're seeing Secretary Blinken being in Saudi Arabia for the second time in less than 24 hours. So we're seeing everyone, let's say, talking with everyone about this issue. Again, two topics. A, as ceasefire, and B, is the story of the hostages and the people who Hamas kidnapped from Israel. These are the two issues. No one is trying to talk about a ceasefire. No one is trying to say we're mediating to stop the hostilities. Right now, these are the main two issues when it comes to the diplomatic sphere.
Okay, Amichai, going to leave it there. Really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.